Cairo is a bustling city where everyone seems to be in a constant rush, shouting, honking at each other. Yet there's a certain charm in this 20 million strong metropolis, in its unique, chaotic energy. It resonates like a unique Egyptian symphony. Perhaps one needs to live here longer to truly grasp its essence. For centuries, its rulers have soaked the city in a blood, one after the other. Epidemics, especially the plague, also took a brutal toll on the population. This capital had witnessed many other calamities, enduring countless trials while drawing in wave after wave of new inhabitants. Yet from its founding to the present day, it has proudly borne the name of the magnificent Al-Qahira, the Unconquered. In ancient times, someone called Cairo the diamond earring that clasps the fun of the delta, a metaphor that truly captures the city's essence, which seems to close off the evergreen delta, untouched by the hostile suns that squeeze the majestic river's valley on both sides throughout its entire course. The world knows no other country like Egypt. Its geography is utterly unique. It's no wonder that Herodotus called this land the gift of the Nile. Egypt thrived thanks to the fertile silt brought by the river, turning the land into a bountiful haven and the country into a cultural center since the dawn of time. Millennia have passed, and the culture of ancient Egypt began to evolve under the influence of various peoples who arrived from all directions. Yet even today, Egypt stubbornly preserves its essence, thanks to its unique ability to assimilate. Perhaps much like a famous Amarna statues, Egypt is a country you can either passionately love or fiercely despise. We sincerely hope that we can help you see this country, not just through the eyes of tourists who come for all-inclusive experience, take a brief bus tour to the pyramids or the Valley of the Kings, and then complain that everything is awful, that Arabs are rude and annoying baboons who only know the word bakshish, and there is nothing to see in the ruins. This country has a unique soul, one so ancient that it's hard to even comprehend, and it's a soul that we simply need to learn to understand. Fortunately, they don't just feed you scarabs, cartouches and dried crocodiles here, as a Russian tourist wrote in a steamship journal back in 1909. Egyptian cuisine has much to offer. We were particularly intrigued by one unusual dish called koshari. Around our hotel, there are plenty of cafes and restaurants that specialize exclusively in this dish, which of course piqued our curiosity. It's a mix of rice, pasta and lentils, generously topped with a tangy tomato vinegar sauce. It's also served with chickpeas and crispy fried onions. It sounds like a strange combination, but we were curious to see how it tastes. Absolutely incredible! We can't believe that such a mix of ingredients could be so delicious. Honestly, it was difficult for us to decide which of Cairo's attractions to visit, as there are so many that it's overwhelming. That's probably why we decided to stay in the city center for a few days and not rush chaotically from one side to another, since we wouldn't be able to see them all anyway. Instead, we just strolled around, exploring whatever caught our eye. From the balcony of our hotel, we admired an interesting structure every day, a huge, beautiful tower. I did a bit of reading about it, and it turns out it's the famous Cairo Tower. They say it was built with the money from the CIA. An American agent attempted to bribe the president of Egypt with $3 million. However, the president, being a staunch anti-corruption advocate, didn't return the money, but handed it over to the Council of Governors. Initially, they planned to use the funds to build a sphinx with a huge nose as a symbolic response to America. But in the end, they decided to invest in the tower project, which would be visible from all corners of Cairo. The design was intended to resemble a lotus flower. I'm not entirely sure. Perhaps it's a lotus bud, or maybe a lotus stamen, or possibly the top part is the lotus itself. Honestly, I couldn't quite make it out. But the tower is indeed impressive. Though it was never used for television broadcasting, it fits perfectly into the surrounding landscape, both day and night, especially with its stunning lighting. The streets of Cairo are also incredibly fascinating. At times, it feels as though you wandered into a European city with its luxurious palaces, upscale boutiques, and elegant mansions tucked away in the shade of sprawling trees. But just take a turn and you're suddenly in the midst of the vibrant life of the East, where the streets become narrower and harem windows protrude from the facades of the buildings. Often, towering proudly nearby are magnificent mosques, each more beautiful than the last. Life here pulses, both day and night. Rising above the cityscape are two majestic minarets piercing the clear sky. They belong to the mosque and tomb of Muhammad Ali, which stand atop the Mosque at Tamhil. This structure is relatively young, as its construction began in 1824. Besides this mosque, within the grounds of the citadel of Saladin, two older mosques face each other. To the left is the Al-Rifa'i mosque, associated with the Sufi order, and to the right is the famous mosque of Sultan Hassan, built in the 14th century and dubbed the Magnificent, because it is considered one of Cairo's most beautiful mosques, blending both Arab and Egyptian styles. What immediately catches the eye are the colonnades and walls of the citadels, clad in alabaster, which closely resemble the stone slabs used to clad the pyramids and the ancient mortuary temples of the pharaohs. One can only imagine how breathtaking the earliest monuments of Egyptian civilization must have been, having withstood millennia, but ultimately falling victim to the onslaught of the Muslims, who stripped them for the constructions of the new city and their own sanctuaries. In any case, today the citadel or fortress of Saladin is considered one of Cairo's central attractions and its crowning jewel. In ancient times, this marvel of fortification played a crucial role in Egypt's history. When the Crusaders captured Jerusalem in the 12th century, Sultan Saladin decided to take precautions and build a wall that would encircle the entire city of Cairo and the neighboring city of Fustat. The ruler believed that this way a single army could easily defend both cities. Thus, in 1176, construction of the citadel began, and it eventually became the most impregnable fortress of the Middle Ages. Cairo itself grew to be the largest city not only in the Arab world, but in all of Africa. Here too is the famous Well of Joseph, where, according to tradition, Joseph, the son of Jacob, was imprisoned after he interpreted Pharaoh's dream about the lean and fat cows, foretelling a famine in Egypt. And perhaps the most breathtaking part is the magnificent panorama of the entire city, the river, and if you're lucky with the weather, the pyramids, silhouetted against the desert suns on the west bank of the Nile. Palaces, mosques, citadels, they are of course impressive, but the true heart of the city is its market. Especially the Khan El-Khalili Market, one of the largest in all of Africa. If before I thought Egypt was crowded, here we found ourselves in what felt like a massive anthill. the bustling crowd of sellers, buyers, and sometimes just a mix of idlers from various backgrounds, scurrying back and forth. Yet this didn't stop us from browsing through the variety of souvenirs and the obviously dubious antiques. We dedicated another day to exploring Coptic landmarks. In Old Cairo, hidden behind the walls of the Babylon fortress, lie several Coptic gems, such as the ancient church of Abu Serga or Saint Sergius, where, according to tradition, the Virgin Mary spent an entire month with the Holy Infant. Another one of the most Instagrammable sites is the Church of Saint Mary, with its round towers. If you ask us how much time you need to calmly explore Cairo, we would say a lot. It took us 4 days, not counting the pyramids. The first day was the Cairo Museum, followed by the Muslim landmarks, the market, Coptic sanctuaries and palaces. It might be possible to see everything in a couple of days, at a faster pace, but you'd have to rush. We're showing different sites with their prices, and you can choose what interests you the most. For additional information, feel free to write to us in the comments, and we'll do our best to help with what we know. In the meantime, a new day and new adventures await us.